The Wadi Yahweh Bashim Yahusha, the Wadi Yahweh Bashim Yahusha, the Wadi Yahweh Bashim Yahusha, the Wadi Yahweh Bashim Yahusha. Peace and blessings to hopefully 144 and the rest of 1/3. You know, my apostles, bishops, and elders, and Malaka, Ruel, and GMS. Shalom, shalom.
Shalom. Call Allah, Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham, Rakah Kodash. Double honors unto the apostles, double honors unto the elder bishops. Salutations to all my fellow laborers doing this work in truth and sincerity, risking their lives and their freedom to do so now more so than ever. The would-be judges, the 144,000, the tabernacle of David, ordained to be the ruling class people here on earth above all other nations, above all the races, above all other governments. All right? Who are Israelites, ordained by who the world ignorantly and fraudulently calls JC. His name is Yahushai, always was, always will be. And to the rest of the scattered elect that are scattered around the four corners of the earth, that be like unto the speckled birds, the Israelite foreigners among the heathen, that have the appearance of the heathen. All right, this is not a black only thing. To the few Akwaf and the sisters, meaning the sisters that are listening and learning, to you I say shalom. This is your brother Malcolm from the branch of the Great Millstone here in Chicago, coming at you another lesson in truth. And I got up to use the restroom. Middle of the night I had to go. Got up to take a leak, and came back to get in bed and just grabbed my phone and opened it and just to see if there was any messages, anything going on. Stuff always happens. And this video, was in my notifications. And I read the title and I opened it and I saw Robert Kiyosaki. All right, he's the professor that they're talking about. Now, I actually met this man about 30 years ago. All right, I was at a conference with him, got to talk to him and everything. All right, I also had purchased his book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. All right, I read his book. And he was an interesting fella, and he made sense because it's true. What he was saying was like the majority of the millionaires in America in the past, most of them weren't even college educated because college is really a scam. All right. College just teaches you how to be the head of somebody else's business, if they even allow you to do that. And it was also a way to keep Jake out of there because they knew most Jakes couldn't afford to be, to go to college. And truth of the matter is people were holding these jobs and these positions going back to the 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s without a college education. And businesses were running just as well. The whole college thing, like I said, it was a scam to make money, and it was also a way to discriminate against, because the average Jake, especially Judites, the swarthier of us, the majority of them couldn't afford to go to college. So all of a sudden you needed a degree, to work. But, that's one thing. I want to go off onto a tangent, all right? But I will say this, like it was the job that my mother retired from before she passed. To get the position that she had, you actually had to have a bachelor's degree, all right? But my mother never went to college, and she held that position, and she was making, before she passed, close to 6 figures. But now all of a sudden, so that's, just to prove the point. But this man has passed the point of no return, right? Because there is, matter of fact, let me just read it. There is no wisdom left within this Edomite. They make, the lie IQ has failed them.
Big time.
All right? The lie IQ has failed them, just like sunblock. Turn out the sunblock is toxic to them and the environment. All right? You're the chosen people, but you're allergic to the sun. Think about that. But this is Jeremiah 49:7, and it reads, Concerning Edom, thus saith Yahweh of hosts, is wisdom no more in Teman? Is counsel perished from the prudent? Is their wisdom vanished? Because the truth of the matter is that the trouble that America's in, you know, they love to let the low level, you know, Joe Sixpack Edomite white people, they want to blame it on everyone that's brown. But the truth of the matter is America's failing because, well, the Lord ordained it that it would happen. But America's failing because of decisions and things done by white males with high IQs that sit in high places. I'll say it again. America has failed because of so-called white males, pale men, Edomites, they're really red, with high IQs.
The end of the American Empire could be 2026. We're so deeply in debt. If I spent $1 a minute, how long would it take me to spend $1 trillion? 32,500 years.
So that shows, that right there demonstrates to you how wisdom does not sit within pale males with high IQs. And a lot of this was done very foolishly, racially motivated, and it's brought them to their own end. When you think about all the programs that they denied themselves just so people that look like the guy to the left, Mr. Eugene there, this brown man that some dummy's gonna call black, because you can see the difference between his skin and his hat. You can clearly see he's brown. Still have some dumbasses calling him a black guy. You know, but just to keep people like him down, they denied themselves and helped further their own destruction.
And they're printing it every 100 days.
Do you think that the United States could ever go back to the gold standard? Why?
They went past the point of no return. Finished. We're finished.
Yeah, and he's absolutely right. America's finished, man. This is it's just playing itself out now.
That's right.
You know, the ship don't just stop and just go underwater. It sinks slowly like the Titanic did. And then it gets to the point where the sinking becomes destructive and violent, and that's the portion we're approaching. All right? See, it's been sinking slowly, but then as the ship begins to rip apart and tear apart, well, that's where America's, you know, if you ever seen the movie, that's the portion where we're at now. And you remember how violent it was when the ship actually ripped apart and stood up in the air and people falling to their death and being crushed and burned alive and, you know, fires breaking out. And, yeah, that's where you are, man. That's the point we're about to approach. This is Daniel 4:17. And it reads, "This matters by the decree of the watchers and to demand by the word of the holy ones, that the intent of the living may know that the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men." See, because the high IQ, the Lord gave them that delusion that they had a high IQ. It was really a lie IQ, and gave them the illusion that they're great. All right? He ordained them to raise up and to, you know, to take over his punishment to those who are really great. You know, the ones who shine in your arenas. Okay, and in the music industry and everything else. All right, which is not, you know, pale people collectively. Right, the ones that do shine in those places, well, you need to check their lineage, because usually you're gonna find out that that's, you know, they're not what they appear to be. All right. But it says that the living may know that the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men, and giveth it to whomsoever he will, and set up over it the basis of men. He set up the dumbass lie IQs. And they really think they're something, not even knowing that the Lord put them in the position that they're in. And he really gave them no wisdom, which is why they took the world, which was a paradise, and ruined it. To where now, no matter where you are, you can barely drink the water. You breathe the air, it's toxic. Every time it rains, my dog gets cold in her eyes. People get sick. Their technology is toxic. Now they have these surveillance centers, which is going to even destroy the water more so than what it already is. These people are not fit to rule, and it shows forth. Right? And this is what happens when the basis of man is elevated and is, you know, and proud in his ignorance. We're gonna start right about here.
Would you recommend somebody to get more involved in the oil stock market?
I don't make recommendations. The whole thing, the reason I love what you do, is we're in the same business as education. Don't invest in oil unless you want to study oil. Like I have a really good friend, you know, he's a multi-millionaire. And I said, how'd you get so rich? He says, eggs. And then what happened for him, because we're about the same age, when he was a kid, I think his grandmother bought him some chickens. And the chickens laid eggs. And he goes, that's interesting. So he used to, you know, collect the eggs. And he'd go around the neighborhood selling his eggs. So there's oil flow, cash flow, egg flow. So today that guy just kept reinvesting his eggs. And he thinks, I think he sells 1.8 million eggs a day or something.
Wow.
He has whole chicken coops. So you're gonna say, yeah, I just started a chicken coop.
And see, that makes me think of something else. You know, when you want to master, get good at something, you really have to practice it over and over again. You know, that's to you become a great bass player, a great guitar player, or the guys that are great at jiu-jitsu. You know, you instead of trying to learn every move, you learn the concepts around a few moves. You know, I was just listening to a video of Hardy Gracie, and he was talking about attacking from the mountain. He said, if you know, a mountain means you made it to where you're sitting on top of someone. He said, only got 2 arms and a neck to attack. How many attacks you need to, you know? You got 2 arms. You're trying to attack their neck for a choke. You know, instead of trying to learn 100 moves, you learn about 4 or 5. And you master those moves. See, often people be trying to do too much, and that's definitely what Esau Edom does. He tries to do way too much. All right? So this guy became a multimillionaire just staying in the egg business. All right, he didn't try to go out and get 9, you know, PhDs. Like I said, Robert Kiyosaki, you know, even in his book and in his speech, he broke down the numbers. The majority of the wealthiest people in the world never went to college. All right? Think all the people that went to college is working for them. All right? Even Kanye West became a billionaire after he dropped out of college. Think about that. What his first album called the College Dropout, if I'm not mistaken. Okay?
But this guy just kept reinvesting his eggs. It's capitalism. It's not rocket science. So everybody can raise a chicken.
Invest in what you know, but
No, you gotta study what you want to be good at. Study is more proactive, and knowing assumes you know.
And I think now a lot of people, like you mentioned, are getting to this conclusion that my job is not going to be enough. I'm earning a salary and I need to invest my money. And so what happens is your employer gives you a 401k. And they say, this is your now retirement plan because like you mentioned, there used to be a pension, but they're a thing of the past.
Yeah.
And so now it's this 401k, which is money invested into the stock market.
1974 again, you know. ERISA, Employee Retirement Income Security Act, 401ks, IRAs.
And so now people are relying on their 401k and IRA to retire.
They're counting on it.
They're counting on it. And a lot of people are getting more and more anxious about the stock market, partially due to oil prices, partially due to AI, partially due to concerns about the economy.
And the debt.
And the national debt.
Global debt.
Why are you not a fan of the 401k?
I have no control over it. I would never touch. I'm not saying you guys shouldn't, don't get me wrong. But I would rather raise chickens and produce eggs than have a 401k.
Why?
Wow.
Because I can control the egg flow.
But if I invest in the stock market, the S&P 500.
Do what you want to do. This is my...
See, that's someone, once again, this Elamite, you know, he has the appearance of an Elamite. He's subscribing to the pale people's lie IQ understanding. And that system, we're living in it and it's failing.
prediction, okay? That's not a good prediction. I hope I'm wrong. Somebody is setting up my generation, the boomer generation. What they're going to do is the boomers are been saving all this money since 1974.
Yeah.
1970 was also the petrodollar, which we have a war in a place called Iran today. We're being set up. It's, I can see it coming. It's happened before in history.
You see what coming?
They're going to yank the stock market. And
Absolutely.
they're going to crash the stock market. My generation is going to be homeless.
Yep.
It was predicted for years. Back in 1779 or something, a guy named Thomas Jefferson said, if you allow a central bank to take over our money supply, the Fed basically, your children will wind up homeless in the land your fathers fought for.
So let's really take into what he said. All right, because that bank has been set up, and it was set up by those, well, the people who you know, that wear the smaller hats. That's that entity that set it up. And now, you know, you Edomites are going to be homeless, and many of you are. I saw a bunch of homeless Edomites yesterday under the bridge, you know, in Logan Square, all throughout Logan Square, and parts of West Town before you hit the west side. Those viaducts, I was shocked how many Edomites live under those viaducts in tents that are homeless, all throughout Humble Boulevard. Okay, so your system has failed you, and the stupidity of it. This is Wisdom of Solomon 6. And it's Salakia 6:1. And it reads, hear therefore ye kings and understand, learn ye that be judges of the ends of the earth. And who the current judges of the earth? Well, Esau, Edom, you know. Give ear ye that rule the people and glory in the multitude of the nations. See, they're glorying in the ruling over the nations with their lie IQ, because they really think that they did it, you know. And the truth of the matter is that the Lord did it. The Lord set them up because he set them up, and now he's about to bring them down. For power was given you of the Lord, and sovereignty from the highest. Who shall try your works and search out your counsels? Because being ministers of the kingdom, ye have not judged the right. See, you don't do shit. You misjudge. And Salakia 6:1. This is Wisdom of Solomon 6. And Salakia 6:1. And it reads, hear therefore ye kings and understand, learn ye that be judges of the ends of the earth. And who the current judges of the earth? Well, Esau, Edom, you know. Give ear ye that rule the people and glory in the multitude of the nations. See, they're glorying in the ruling over the nations with their lie IQ, because they really think that they did it, you know. And the truth of the matter is that the Lord did it. The Lord set them up because he set them up, and now he's about to bring them down. For power was given you of the Lord, and sovereignty from the highest. Who shall try your works and search out your counsels? Because being ministers of the kingdom, ye have not judged the right. See, you don't do shit. You misjudge everything. You don't give out justice. All right? Nor kept the law, nor walked after the counsel of God. Horribly and speedily shall he come upon you. For a sharp judgment shall be to them that be in high places, man. The Lord is coming to mess you Edomites up. All right?
Because being minister of his kingdom, ye have not judged aright. nor kept the laws, nor walked after the counsel of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, Bashem Rakatash Rakatam. Horribly and speedily shall he come upon you, for a sharp judgment shall be to them that be in high places. You're done, double. You're done. You're done.
And he started, and I say that in my prayer. I pray that the Lord take away their health, their wealth, and their hope. And he's going to take away those things. Your health, your wealth, and your hope. And when that's all gone, that's nothing but darkness. And these Edomites, they're about to lose it. And they're going to really go on a rampage. But guess what? The people going to rampage right back on them. You see, this time, it just ain't them. You watch the 24, okay? The 24th on Netflix. All right. This time, you know, they ain't the only ones with guns.
Study ethnic history. 1974 was the petrodollar. We're at war in Hormuz right now. I'm getting richer. 1974 was ERISA, Employee Income Security, 401k. We're being set up.
Well, what is the petrodollar? Because I think a lot of people have heard that.
Backed by the bag of oil. 1971, Nixon took the dollar off the gold standard, and the dollar became debt.
That's right. You're going to rage, and people going to rage back upon you, double. That's right. You better get ready.
So when Nixon took the dollar off the gold, just check your history books. Everybody should know that stuff. He took the dollar off, and they could print money as much as they liked.
Yeah, they can print money as much as they like. And he keeps saying, you know, check your history books. Well, a lot of the things that you need to know are removed from the history books, removed from the curriculum. And people aren't taught to seek out knowledge. Matter of fact, all throughout school and my education, I wasn't taught to seek out knowledge that way until I was really introduced to this truth. All right. You know, that's when I really became interested in history, because I hadn't been interested in history since my senior year in high school, when I learned that the Israelites were not white people, they were actually dark people. Now, the person who introduced me to that truth, you know, they were all on that Africanism, but there still was an element of that was true, and that gave me complications in my belief in Christianity from that day forward, from that time forward. Because one thing that this person did do is that they were able to prove to me through history and relics, all right, that the Egyptians and were a black race of people. And one thing that I understood even back then is that the Israelite came to be, and that they took wives of those people, all right, and that Moses grew up in the house with you know, in the house of Pharaoh. And if he looked like, you know, Benjamin Milkowski, that couldn't have happened. So I understood that then, you know, that was some lies going on. I knew that something was wrong, because you had a group of people call themselves Ish, you know, J-ish, and then Christians were pretty much backing them up. So I had a problem with Christianity. I was like, well, if they can't even tell the truth about the Lord and his people, what they look like, and that had nothing to do with being racist, it just had everything to do with truth. And I thought to myself, you know, in my adult life, if they lying about what the Lord and his people look like, what else are they lying about? All right. And I couldn't get past that. And then the Lord finally brought me to this, you know.
So today, America is 39 trillion in debt.
Now, remember when he said, it would take you 32,500 years to get to $1 trillion if you spent $1 every day. And that 39 trillion, and we know that number is really well over 200 trillion. These people, they lie. These Edomite males are not fit to rule. They brag about how they did this and they did that. And you didn't do nothing but destroy everything. First of all, the Lord put you in power, and when you got in power, you fucked it all up. You $200 trillion in debt. You pass upon no return. War is the only way out of this. All right?
Because of what Nixon did in 1971. They should study that in school. So they printing. What goes up?
He's frustrated because he's like, well, y'all not being taught anything. Look, the small hats, you know, those the wearer of the smaller hats, they don't want you to know that. They don't want you to. They're not going to put that, you know, and make that a part of the curriculum. You may find it, touch on it in one of their history books, but they're not going to make that a part of the curriculum because they don't want anything pointing back to them. Because you are aware they control the Board of Education and all here in America and all, your textbooks. The wearers of the smaller hats is who I'm talking about.
That was the price of eggs go up, and the price of oil goes up. It's just common sense. You don't have to go to school to understand that. So that's what disturbs me as our education system's Marxist. It's criminal.
But we're in this system now. Money has been being printed, and it's been happening since 1971, and it really accelerated since 2020, the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
That's not going to stop. The money printing happens, the value of the dollar goes down, assets like real estate go up. But now for the person who's thinking about retirement, because today we have the biggest retirement crisis in the history of time. Baby boomers are retiring with no money.
If
Happens, the value of the dollar goes down, assets like real estate go up. But now for the person who's thinking about retirement, because today we have the biggest retirement crisis in the history of time. Baby boomers are retiring with no money.
if what I sense they're going to do is going to be the biggest crisis of our time.
And Robert Kiyosaki has been right about most of his guesses. Guessing with his, because he's actually pretty intelligent. All right, and he's been spot on with many things, including what happened in that crash. What happened? What led up to it? He's one of the few people who said that this was going to happen, and then it happened. And then he said that the second one, is going to be worse.
I hope I'm wrong. Please, I hope I'm wrong. But I fought in Vietnam twice. I'm a U.S. Marine gunship pilot. I killed a lot of people. And I learned to not trust my government.
And we'll leave that alone. All right. But basically, he just goes on to say we're past the point of no return. Because the system is failing, and this is what they want. This is back in Wisdom of Solomon 6:23. Neither will I go with counsel with consuming envy, for such a man shall have no fellowship with wisdom. He sort of, you can't be jealous of that they own the big homes and the houses and the Maybachs and the Rolls Royces and all that. They're about to lose everything, man. And they all got that through their criminal empires, man. It's because don't think for 1 minute, because they set up police forces and set up judges and lawyers in the law system to protect what they have stolen. And now, think about it. When the biggest thief, murderer, genocidal rapist wants to take someone to court for stealing something, think about it. It's almost comical, man. When you really consider and think about it. You just stole the whole fucking world, stole the whole country. All right? Unalive people unrighteously so that you could just have more and more and more and take the land, and then you want to set up a system to where you're a moral judge over people and decide if they get to live or if they go to prison for the rest of their life, which is a scam within itself because there's no, claiming to have been a Christian nation, and there's no Christian way where you imprison someone for their entire life. All right? And then if you unalive someone unrighteously, you get put to death. But see, there's no money in that. They need bodies in those prisons. That's how they make money. All right. So instead of eye for an eye, they send you somewhere and they make money off you and get free labor out of you.
Yep.
It's all a money making scheme.
Yep. That's it.
And nothing is done. And while screaming Christianity and Jesus Rice, cheap.
See, they don't care that you done murder somebody or whatever. They don't care. As long as they can get a body up in that damn slave camp, concentration camp, to make money off of you by free labor. They don't care about that. It's all excuse to say, oh, well, you offended the government and you done murder somebody, blah. It's all excuse to get you up in there. That's all. You know what I'm saying? Also, like the elder said, they form police to protect all the shit that they stole from everybody.
And rice. Okay, I'll use that term instead. All right, because the Lord's name is never. We've already. You can even Google that yourself, and they'll tell you that when the Lord walked the earth, He was not called that, and you can't. And it's a simple fact that people, you don't change people's names. They don't translate. Proper nouns don't translate. You don't just change someone's name like that. All right. And then we're going to take the highest name that there is and translate it to what you want it to be. Okay. But this failure of this system is going to lead to Revelation 13. We're going to get ready to wrap this up. Okay. Revelation 13 and 16. And he calls of all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a M-A-R-K, a charagma, in their right hand or in their forehead, something inserted in them. And that no man might buy or sell, save he have that M-A-R-K, that charagma, because they're gonna surveil, control you, and keep up with you digitally. Okay. Or it says, or the name, that he might not buy or sell, save he have that M-A-R-K, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. So you gotta, and this is what they're coming to. They're gonna crash everything, just like Robert Kiyosaki said. All right, and it's going to. And that's going to bring on a lot of death and chaos in doing so, to where the Lord's going to have to intervene, because if He doesn't, all the elect would die too. There'll be no flesh. Matthew 24 and 22. Except those days be shortened, there should no flesh be saved. But for the elect's sake, all right, for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened. Okay. This is Revelation 11 and 15, because the Lord is about to come and just debo you. All right. This is Revelation 11 and 14. The second woe is past, so the third woe. So in the third woe, it's about to happen. The third woe coming quickly. Then the Lord going to come, and the seventh angel sounded. There were great voices in heaven saying, the kingdoms of this world have become the kingdoms of our Lord. Like I say in the introduction of every lesson. All right. The Lord is going to rule over all nations, all government, all other races, all other people. All right. That's the kingdom of heaven here on earth as it is in heaven. Okay. And He shall reign forever and ever. And who He's going to set up? He's going to set up the 12 tribes of Israel, with King David at the head of that, and the 12. As simple as that. The Israelites, the new government. All right, the head of that government will be Yahushua himself. Under him will be King David and the 12, and then the rest of the elect 144,000 will be the new kings and judges of the entire earthly realm over all other races, all other governments, all other people. That's how it's going to happen. And the Edomites will serve the most brutal chattel slavery ever known to the history of mankind. All right. Far worse than what we went through. And what we went through was really bad. All right. And then at the end of that, they don't get emancipated. They get annihilated and erased from the memory of man. Thus saith the Lord, not me. The Lord said this about the Edomites. Okay. Amos 9 and 11. In that day will I raise up the tabernacle of David that is fallen, and close up the breaches thereof, so that no more wars and fights between the northern and southern kingdom. Negroes and so-called Latinos and Negroes on Negroes and all that. That's over with. All right. And among the elect, the men of the Lord, it's already over. It's just you 2/3 is still, banging on each other. Too stupid to realize you have the same enemy. Right? And that day will I raise up the tabernacle of David that is fallen and close up the breaches thereof, and I will raise up his ruins and will build it as in the days of old. You go read about King David and this mighty man and that conquest of the other nations. All right? Would set up the 40 years of peace with King Solomon. That is going to be the kingdom of heaven in the future, in the very near future. Okay? And I'll read this last one and we're done. This is Daniel 7:18. And it reads, but the saints of the Most High, the saints are the Israelites, shall take the kingdom and possess the kingdom forever, even forever and ever, man. So we're not going to ask you for shit. We can already take your shit. All right? So it is what it is. So with that, we're going to give all praises, all honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham, Rakah HaKadosh, Kwam, Yasarala, Abba, Ball.
That's right. It's a wrap. It's a wrap for you, devil. Wall, a ball, ball.